Sweetness.
Okay, so this episode may be a little different but we feel like it's a necessary thing to talk about. So we thought we would talk about it. So we are just trigger warning. If you super sensitive, don't like to hear about stuff like this, just click away.
But we feel like we had to talk about it.
We feel like we had to talk about it because I'm like, God, dog, you hear about this stuff happening, and then to see this, I feel like we got a lot of space over here. Let's scooch over a little towards Shonda. Scoot over a little more. Okay. There we go. But yeah, it feel like it just needs to be.
Allergies. Excuse her.
She's overwhelmed about this topic, so it's just making her sneeze. But anyways, we were watching this documentary. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have seen it on what it was? HBO Max.
What's the name of the documentary?
The name of the documentary is called Quiet on Set.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about behind the scenes stuff with child stars, but mainly it focused on Nickelodeon. The executive producer for many shows on Nickelodeon, and just stuff that people dealt with while they were on the set.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting and very eye-opening because we'll dive into it deeper, but I'm going to just say one of the actors, just from me watching the show, I noticed he looked different. Like, I was like, oh, this kid looks so old. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And to the point that something actually was going on. And I was surprised to find that out because I remember as a kid watching this show and being like...
And you had no idea what was going on.
I had no idea what was going on, but I was like, he just looked tired. Like, something looks, something looked off. But anywho, so the show is called Quiet on the Set. Me and Shonda
watched it the other night,
and I was just like,
we were both in shock. So
and sad.
Are we gonna give a brief synopsis of what happened?
Kinda. Okay.
So there was a young actor who was a child star. And with anything when you are young, most of the time your parents are gonna go with you. They're gonna, just so that they can, make sure that everything is everything, because they have the insight. They can sometimes look at people and be like, they're not right. So anyway, his father was...
Stay away from my baby.
Right. So his father was that person. And his father could smell, see, sense from 2 miles away that there was something about the acting coach. Voice coach.
Yeah, the voice coach.
The voice coach. And he was just like, I just don't too much care for it. But the voice coach, being the villain, the predator that he was, put a wedge between the father and the son.
Yeah, he started feeding the son information, lies. It was like, your dad is trying to steal your money. I'm sorry.
He's in the way. People don't like him being here because he's in the way, and
he's gonna affect your career.
Yeah, and you know how when you're a teenager or young adult, and your parents seems to be in the way, or people talking about them, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't want them here because you don't want anybody looking at you funny. So that's what started happening, and then come to find out. Of course, we know later on that it was all a lie, but ended up happening. The mom and the dad were not together, and so
the dad had fought for custody of his son.
Yeah,
like he had his son, and he watched out for him, he cared for him.
He said he was everywhere. He said everywhere his son went, he was there, and it was like he said his son was never out of sight. Like it was literally, I could turn around and he was right there.
So when all of that happened, when this guy started building a wedge between him and his dad, it was like, oh, it's going to hurt your career. You're not going to have any work. You're not going to be able to work in Hollywood. Because that was this kid's dream. And his dad was supporting it. He was like, okay, this is what you want to do. Let's get you into acting. And I'm going to be here for you. I got you, but I'm going to be here.
Yeah, I'm going to be here.
So he did that. And then when this vocal coach put a wedge between him, his mom got custody. The boy was like, Dad, I don't want you to be my manager anymore, and because you're messing up my career.
And the man and this is something that the man told him. He had said, children who let their parents be their managers don't go far. I guess Beyonce wasn't alive then. because her dad was her manager for a long time.
Right.
And she was very successful in business.
Very successful.
But yeah, so that's what he was saying. So and it ended up to where he was staying with the mama. The mama was not the same type of parent. She was not the same caliber of parent. We're not gonna talk about her as a parent. But we just gonna say she was not the same caliber of parent that the father was. So where the son had to be at and where he ended up living, where he had to be at for his acting stuff, and where he lived was an hour away. The dad was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna take him." The mom, on the other hand, was like, "Oh, we're just gonna let him just ride with this.
I don't feel like driving.
I don't feel like driving that far, so I'm just gonna let him ride with this coach." And of course, if this coach is a predator, he's gonna be like, "Oh, just let him stay tonight, and it's an hour away. We got done late, so he'll say tonight, and I'll just bring him home tomorrow." You know, all that stuff like that. And so that's what ended up happening. The boy was fine and comfortable at first, and then he ended up getting sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
He was getting SA'd. Where are you going?
So he it was just what was so weird about it is because this guy, before, it was other kids who worked on the show. Y'all know all these shows, like all that Drake and Josh. And mainly it was just all that. The shows that they talked about were all that, the Amanda Show.
Oh, that
Drake
Amanda
and
Show.
Josh were like the main ones still, where they were like, all of this stuff was happening. So y'all have to watch it, because I feel weird about like saying these folks' names, especially the kid. They're not kids anymore. Honestly, they're the same age as us now, but it's just still like they were children. Mm-hmm. So I just, you go watch the documentary for yourself for details. But this kid, because his mom just was like, I'm too tired. I don't feel like driving him to his audition or on set. You stay at this dude's house. Well, before Rewind, this guy was like, everybody knew him. He always worked with the kids. He always had parties at his house. Like if you wanted to have a birthday party, you just go ask this cat and he'll be like, yeah, you can have a party at my house. And
they say he even was like, they got to have a party at his house. Like it was like he was not like, oh, if they want to have it somewhere else. He was like, no, like insistent that they had at his house.
Yeah. Well, it kind of was like, if you have a party, you gotta have it at his house, because his house is so cool. All these little children. So that's how lots of people wind up at his house. Now, the guy who he essayed was the only. I don't think he was the only.
I think he was the only victim. I think.
Was he the only victim?
I don't think he was the only. Now we have to watch the we have to watch it again to be sure.
We don't know if he was the only.
I don't think he was the only victim.
Just in this documentary, this is the one who came.
This is a focus, right?
Yeah, he's the focus. And he was talking about how, as a kid, you know, you don't think straight, especially when someone is threatening you, like threatening, oh, you're going to lose your job. And as a kid, you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to support my family. Like you got this weight on your shoulder.
Plus, it was a dream of his. It was his dream to be a Hollywood star. So he felt like this was the only way to get there. I got to see here through this.
Yep. So he kept his mouth closed, didn't say anything for a long, long time. Then when he got older, he got a girlfriend. And I was like, this would tick me off.
This is what ticked both of us off. We was like,
his mom, I'm like, how did you not know something was wrong with your baby? Mm-hmm. How did you not see that? Again.
But there could have been a possibility where there was probably days where he didn't see her. He only talked to her on the phone.
That's true, but when you here's why I say that don't make sense. Because when he got a girlfriend, so he was at his little girlfriend house. He's still a teenager, you know, like 15, 16, I think. Mm-hmm. Got a girlfriend. He's at his girlfriend house, and this guy starts calling him, and just like, because they were supposed to go to Disneyland, and he started calling him on the cell phone. He don't answer. So then he called his girlfriend house, ringing, back to back to back. And when he finally answered, it was weird. Then he hung up the phone on him, and then he kept just calling back, like, you know, you better answer my phone calls, blah, 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 blah. And so the mom of the girlfriend was like,
that's weird.
She was, after a while,
like instantly, she was like, he said within like 6 minutes, she was like, this is weird. Like,
yeah, like she called him aside.
No grown man calls a teenage boy like that. Like, you may call him once or twice. If that's your daddy, that's different, or your guardian. But he was not either of those things.
Either. So she was like, so-and-so, come here, let me talk to you for a second. And so they went in the kitchen, and I like how she didn't just put him on blast or badger him or anything like that, but she knew something was up. So she called him in the kitchen and was like, so-and-so, what's going on? And explained to him that this is not normal. Because again, you're a little kid, you don't know nothing in life. You don't know what's normal and what's not.
Yeah.
So she explained to him, like, this is not normal, this is not okay. What? You got to tell me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, well, he's just weird. Stuff it's just getting a little weird on the set. So she put her foot down. She was like, okay, boundary. And she called dude and was like,
no. She said that you don't have to tell me. We're gonna go to therapy tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go.
And so she booked a therapy session for him. And so he was like, okay. So he went to the therapy session, and he didn't say anything at the therapy session. He was like, this is weird. I don't feel like I need to tell some stranger what's going on, because I couldn't even tell my family what was going on. Now by this time, understand that a wedge once was a close relationship with him and his dad, ended up being a huge wedge to where he was barely even speaking to his daddy, because that's how strong of a wedge this guy had put in him and his father's relationship.
Yep. And so the whole thing, it was just so sad, because you could tell. And that's again, the crazy part. This woman who, she's getting to know this young man because he's dating her daughter, knew something was wrong in 6 minutes. And your mom, who you live with,
supposed to live with,
didn't even
recognize that something was wrong. He said he was losing weight. He said his hair was falling out and everything. And your mama just like, oh, this is normal. This is what Hollywood does, I guess. I don't know what Layla was thinking. Clearly, it was not nothing.
And that's why I was like, because I remember that time period, and I remember that show, and I was like, this little kid looked like an old man. Like, he had really big lines in his forehead. His hair looked
thinning.
It didn't look thin, but it wasn't like, it looked pale, kind of like stringy. And I was like, what is up with this kid? And I want to apologize, because, my mind instantly, because by that time, it was a lot of stars coming off the rail, like Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes just wilding out. And it's like, oh, okay, here go another one. These folks need to get off the drugs. But that's not what was happening to this poor child. And so it's like, you don't know who is around your kids. And it's very good to be vigilant, especially in this day and age, because unfortunately it's worse this day and age. Back then, it was just as bad.
Yeah.
But lots of things was kept on the hush hush. We don't talk about this, or, oh, it's not our business. What happened in the house, stay in the house. I hate that so much, because I'm just like, you have people suffering.
Yeah.
And dealing with stuff that they should not have to deal with, because people are feeding them this thing. And it's like a whole cultural thing, because it's not just, it's a whole just, everybody says that. You hear that as children. You hear that as kids. Kids need to stay in a child's place. Mind your business. Get out of grown folks' business. That ain't happening to you. That's not the reality.
Or even the worst thing is when sometimes adults will blame the child and say, well, what was you doing? What was they doing? They're a child. What's the adult doing? Why are you even thinking or wanting to do these things to a child?
Yeah.
But this is the thing that got me, honestly. It was so sad. I feel like I think it was like the saddest part of the whole show was after he told his mom finally what happened, was going on. She called the police and, all this, whatever. The guy ended up getting indicted to go to jail. And the dad, who had known something was up with his man for years, finally had called his son and said, "Oh, they finally got him. I'm so glad they got him
because I knew something was wrong.
I knew something was wrong, and I'm so glad it wasn't you." It was him the whole time, but at that point, he didn't tell his dad, so his dad didn't know it was him, and his dad didn't find out until, I guess, a couple of months, years. I guess they didn't say exactly.
They didn't say when his dad
how far. But it's so sad that the dad had been calling this out for so long, and his dad probably said, "Oh, I'm so glad they just didn't mess with my son," and it was your son that was messed with. But they, of course, in the court documents and then on the news, because he was a minor, they did not disclose who it was. Mm-hmm. But I think that was the saddest part to me.
It was so sad because when he was interviewing the dad, you could just tell he was so upset.
Even after all these years,
he was like, because I was trying to be there for my son. He was trying to protect him, and that's all he wanted to do was protect that baby. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I'm pretty sure he feel like he failed, which I don't think he did at all. He did everything that he could. But when it's like, will you stop it? My hand is not a chew toy. When other parents are involved and influence things, and courts get involved, and it's just, but keep doing.
So when children are abused or anything like that, it comes across as several different ways. Children can sometimes be more aggravated or more aggressive in their play. That's why sometimes when kids go to therapy, they'll just say, like, draw a picture of, what you do. And they can kind of tell by, like, the scribbling that the kids do or something like that. Like, oh, there's some type of aggression there, and get it out that way. Other things that children may do is wet the bed. That's one thing that children may do. Just some form of something that they didn't do before. Mm-hmm. That parents, guardians, aunties, uncles, friends should pay attention to. And I think it's just so important. We have nieces and nephews, and it will be so horrible to hear that anything is going on. But I mean, you have to have a good relationship with these kids. You got to talk to them and be like, "Hey, what happened in your day?" I remember I was with my nephew one day, and this random guy came up and was like, and spoke to him, was like, "Hey," he said his name, but he was like, "Hey," and y'all should saw me. I was like, "Who is that? What's his name? Where he live? How you know him? Who he be with?" Like, I was just like running down. Like, before he could answer one question, I was on to the next question. But the way the guy looked was so crazy, and I was just like, I was trying to figure out who was this person, because I don't know what I was gonna do. I was gonna run behind him because he looked a little sketchy. However, I would have found out something, because but I mean, we have to watch these kids,
and you have to talk to them and listen. Like, I hate that much of children should be seen and not heard. Okay, then if something happened to them, they ain't gonna tell you, because you don't give them that gateway of communication. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like you need to talk to your kids and actually listen to what they say, because they are little humans. They're learning how to navigate their emotions and feelings and whatever, but they are little people with emotions and feelings that deserve respect. Yeah. So,
and you can't blame kids for acting like a child. They're a kid. Let kids be kids. Let them be kids, but don't blame them for if they don't know.
And that's another
age appropriately.
Because remember the kid, he was saying he was so hurt when he went in that courtroom, and on this guy who did all this stuff to him had a room full of people, and on his side it was just his mom and his
mom and
his siblings.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "Yo, what is it?" But that's the mask that this guy had put on for so long. He's just a great guy. Oh, he loved all the kids, to where people was like, they blamed him.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, oh, for this to happen, he must have been under extreme temptation. You should see the letters.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, it's the reporter who was doing the document, she ain't hold back. She put people a letter up there with their signed signature, they put their picture beside it. This person said this.
Mm-hmm.
This one said that.
But at the same time,
did they have all the details?
They did not have all the details. They did not know it was a minor. They did not know who the person was. And a couple of them did come back and apologize, like, oh, if we would have known that it was if they would know all the details, then it would have been different. They didn't know. It was just like a friend. They was like, oh, I'm gonna stand beside my friend, and right. It's like, fine. Let me tell you. In this age, and as much as we love the people that we are with, love the people that we call family, love the people that we call friends, love the friends that we call family, whatever the situation is, we have got to get out of the notion, the idea that it is okay to take up for somebody that we know. Because
you can't sit there and be like, I know what they're doing wrong, but I'm gonna sit beside.
Or no. You can't sit here and say
like you can't say that.
You can't say you can't agree with something. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Call it like it is. That's what I was about to say. I wasn't gonna say that though. What I was gonna say is stop saying what you know somebody wouldn't do. Oh, can't kill somebody, baby. Let me just call her. Hold on 1 second. Let me call her because she may have, she may have got off the scale. You know what I'm saying? She may have just jumped the rails and decided that she was just done. So don't sit here and just be like, unless you was there. Like they say, at the time today, Candy did such and such. That's impossible because I was sitting right next to her and we was recording a podcast, so that was impossible. But if it's something that Ken is like my sister, and I hope she don't. But I don't know what she gonna do. She don't know what I would do. Honestly, you don't know.
That's the thing, is you need to, for one, really know your friends, because I feel like a lot of these people work with this guy in Hollywood.
You'd be surprised who you work with and who at home is completely different.
But I don't feel like nobody was like his friend. Nobody could say like, oh, I know this guy inside and out. I know his parents. I know everything about him. They just worked with him. Mm-hmm. So they didn't even know his life. And then before like this happened to this little boy, it was one of the other cast members from all that. They was having a birthday party at his house. And it was like each room was themed in something cool. So one room was themed Planet of the Apes. And in the corner, it was something it didn't fit because the whole room was literally Planet of the Apes. And then over there in the corner is a clown picture. So one of the little boys was like, that's weird. So he asked him, what's that about? And he was like, oh, he got super excited. Now this is the one, the
Predator.
The Predator got super excited, flipped it over and showed him the autograph. Who sent him that picture? Guess who it was, y'all? Guess. It was John Wayne Casey. Now, if you have never heard of this serial killer,
that's not funny.
Look him up, and it's not funny.
It's not. I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing the way you said it.
I'm sorry, because it's just like, oh, you just want to choke folks like that, and the fact that they still be just sitting up in jail, get 3 meals a day, and they didn't murder all these folks. I'm just
and essayed. He had essayed and murdered.
Yes. So it ticks you off.
Yeah. So he was, but he was a pen pal. He was
to this predator. He was pen paling this guy. So the guy who essayed all these folks and murdered all these folks and had all these bodies was the pen pal of this predator who was preying on this little boy.
Are we supposed to get murdered?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to say or what we ain't, but trigger warning. We gonna put it at the beginning.
Warning.
So if it's sensitive and you don't want to hear it, cut it off. Goodness. Because I don't know what's okay to say. The whole situation just sad.
It is.
Throw the whole everybody away.
I like our friends.
Our friends.
Our imaginary friends though, honey, just
throw
it away.
So aggravating.
But in all seriousness, and just to kind of wrap this whole thing up, if you have even adults can be abused.
Yep.
Even adults.
lots of times it's more mental with the adults. Because we already, from childhood on, you got mental issues and don't know how to set boundaries and stuff like that because of what you deal with. Because they was like, oh, hush, hush, you be quiet. I don't believe you. So when you go into adulthood, you still stuck in 8-year-old body and the 8-year-old mentality in an adult body, and you just ain't doing what you need to do to get to a better place because you don't know. Those resources aren't readily available. It's not a normal thing because society, but it's like you got an 8-year-old walking around as a 30-something-year-old and don't know how to deal with the relationship they're in with an abuser.
Yeah, I think that it starts early, even though you may not have been abused per se as a child, but the allowance that you give people starts at an early age. It's what you've been feel like. Don't say nothing. It's fine. Don't say that to such and such.
Go hug loud,
such
weird such. Uncle so and so.
Yeah. Share your candy with people. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Now, at some point, if you want to share your candy, I think. For me, I think if kids want to share something, let them share it. If they want to, hug such and such, let them hug such and such. But to force somebody to hug somebody, you never know what type of weird vibes the kids get. You don't even know if that kid had been around that person and had already done something inappropriate to them anyway. And now you're forcing their child to go up there. So then that gets in the child's mind like, oh, this must be okay. It makes me feel uncomfortable. My mom, my aunt, or my uncle, whoever I trust, have told me to go hug this person, even though it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I gotta let it be okay. Because
I trust them, so this gotta be okay.
It gotta be okay.
This person makes me feel weird. That's why with little kids, like our niece, when I'm not a fan of it when people be telling her, be nice, go give so and so a hug. Cause when I be like, come give me a hug, and she be like, no. I be like, okay, I don't want one from you. And that's that. But
let me tell y'all, they have a tumultuous relationship, honey. And they be like at each other left and right, but honey, they can't go somewhere. That joke be like, that one can. Honey, ooh.
But I'll be like, okay, I don't want to force her to hug me if she don't want to. Cause I mean, I don't even want to hug everybody. So why I'm making this?
Even as an adult, sometimes I'd be like, all right, tap tap tap, and ooh, get away.
And it's like, why am I gonna do this to this little kid if she don't want to? Because she'll come and hug me when she feel like it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, okay, she love me regardless. I ain't gonna force her to hug me.
Yeah.
But I hate that be nice mentality because I feel like it turns people into a people pleaser. It lets them learn, switch down how you feel about stuff to make others happy.
Yeah.
And then that can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, listen to your kids. Y'all go watch a documentary because it's very eye-opening and it make you wonder. Because even with the people who fell off the rails in Hollywood, like the Lindsay Lohans, Amanda Bynes, whatever, it make you wonder what they dealt with. Like, what else did they deal with in order to not be able to function well into adulthood?
Yeah.
It made me wonder.
It had to be something. It's not just like, they just decided no.
Yeah. Because that's how the media portrayed it. Like, they didn't got on drugs, they drinking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they got a lot of people behind them that wasn't good. Like, it wasn't people saying, oh, you're a kid, man, listen to your mom and dad. Or, no, you can't get a divorce from your parents. What sense does that make? You need to stay with your mom and dad, but let's get this shot.
Yeah.
It was like, we need to get this shot. What do you want? You can have anything you want. You want a puppy? I'll bring you a puppy right now. Here you go. You can have it.
Paisley was honey. Paisley said, what the devil happened to me?
I'm giving you to the child who just want whatever they want. They want a puppy. Here you go. You can have a puppy.
You can't have Paisley though, honey.
That's how they do, just to get a shot. They was like, we want you to act this way. Okay, if you act this way, we'll get you a puppy. Just craziness like that. Mm-hmm. And they don't learn how to function as good human. I'm so sorry, I woke you up.
Paisley said, I was sleeping, honey. I was minding my business and running through fields of marigolds.
So sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much what we just wanted to talk about, that documentary, and just talk about how please listen to your children.
Yeah, and listen to adults that tell you that something's not right, something's going on.
Oh, because you know,
Pick up on clues. Oh, I was talking.
I'm sorry.
Pick up on clues if you notice that someone is looking funny, looking weird, looking sick, looking whatever. You know, don't just be like, "Ooh, they got that." They don't. They may not. Just just hear them out. Ask them, is everything okay? You know, I'm here if you need me.
I'm sorry. It just made me realize, because in the thing, the dad, when he was like, okay, you gotta go with your mama, but he told his mama.
He told the mama,
don't you dare let him go with this person.
Do not let him out of your sight, because the dad had been. The dad had been there, so he's like, do not let him go with this person, and do not let him out of your sight, honey. Day 2, I'm just saying, I don't know what day it was. Day 2, the mama was like, go on over there. Call me if you need me.
We're not trying to say.
We're not going to speak of the caliber of mother that she is, because we don't know the lady.
We don't know.
She don't know us. However, if you watch the documentary, you can form your own opinions.
Anywho,
we let it rest. Jesus,
I done got mad now, so we finna go because I got aggravated all over again.
Woo,
like
Lord,
it was so sad, just the whole everything.
Yeah,
and you're just like, these poor children.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope them talking about it. And that's why conversations like this need to happen. It's ugly. It's not comfortable. Nobody want to hear this, but it needs to be said.
It needs to be said.
Because if you don't, I mean, you don't know, you don't hear people's experiences and then be like, oh, okay, other people have dealt with stuff similar. Oh, you just don't know because you don't talk about it. So. Yeah, it needs to be discussed. Uncomfortable conversations have to be had to get to a better place. So have those uncomfortable conversations with your kids.
Yeah. Thank y'all for joining us today. We just want to let you know that if you're suffering from anything, talk to someone. Don't be ashamed. Some kind of way, let somebody know that everything is not okay.
It's resources for help.
So please be sure to look out for those resources. Google those resources. Try to get out of the situation. There's no reason why anyone deserves to stay in those types of situations. Nobody deserves it. Regardless of what you think, nobody deserves to be in that situation.
You deserve to be treated like the prince or princess, queen or king you are.
Yes. Keep that in mind. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll see y'all the next time.
Bye.
Out.
And I'm so sorry I woke you. She was sleeping hard. She had her bear and everything. It was just like,
oh, she had her best snuggling up and everything. Her face say, good God.
I'm so sorry.